If we go back to the audio video,
waves across the rest of the world.
We go to
one of the things that one often hears from Western
My Music
is that these people,
and this is going to default to the CD player because that's how it comes from the factory. It goes to the last thing it was on. If I press the plus button and I go to Paul's iPhone, the audio system is now playing my phone. So this song is actually on my phone. If I, there it is. In fact, they're counting crows. So I'm going to turn that off. So this will play whatever music is on your phone wirelessly. So you can have the phone in your pocket or your purse, and the system will play it. Once the phone is connected, it plays it through the Bluetooth. Something else I want to go to here is the setup. If you press the setup button, you get this screen. If you go into System, this is how you change the clock if you need to adjust the time. It's how you can change the language if you want to. You can also change the volume presets, which is very handy. So if you find, for instance, that when you're on the telephone it's too soft or too loud, you can go in here and change the preset. I find the factory presets are pretty good, but you've got the option there to change them if you find that they're not quite to your taste. If we go back and go to voice, this is quite important. The first thing you come to is the command list, and on the right are a list of all the things that can be controlled using voice. So if we go to navigation, it gives you a list of your commands. The ones you're going to use mainly are going to be navigation, go to address, navigation, go home, navigation, go to previous destination, navigation, go to POI. There are plenty of others, but these are the main ones. And so this is a list of everything you can tell the car to do using your voice. So it's quite handy to play with that. Also, if you want to, there is this voice training. I found it pretty useful. I had a car with this system and I used this. It takes about 10 minutes, and you go in and it's called Say What You See, and the screen will ask you to repeat a load of commands that it gives you, and it effectively takes a voice print so that it recognizes your voice. I don't think you'll have to do that. You have a pretty regular accent, but it's also quite a useful way of you getting used to giving commands to the system. The key thing when you're giving commands is to wait for it to beep when it speaks back to you, because it doesn't hear you until after the beep. But anyway, there's a lot of good things in this setup menu, and you access that from here. At any time, if you hit this home menu button, you go back to this screen here. Just moving down here, your heated seats are here, your heated windshield. If you do come out to the car and you find that it's iced up, you can hit this max button and it puts front and rear screens on and all the blowers. Your air conditioning controls are all here. If you hit the auto button, it will automatically set the temperature to the one that you've set, and it is dual zone, so you can have different temperatures on different sides. This is your terrain response system, and most of the time you're going to be driving the car in this one. It's the general special programs off button, just for regular driving. If you move this arrow to the right, you will come to the grass, gravel and snow mode. It does actually tell you up on the screen if you're in any of the special programs. And grass, gravel and snow is very useful if there is actually snow lying on the ground, or you're going over loose gravel or wet grass. It changes the way the car responds. It's like kind of like a winter mode, but I always recommend to customers, if there is actually snow on the road, that you use that. The next one is called Mud Ruts, and this is for your off-road driving, if you do go off-road. And they recommend, if you're in mud ruts mode, you're off-road, that you raise the suspension up. And the suspension is here. You have 3 different heights on your suspension. The bar indicates normal driving height, and that is actually the only height you can drive on the road in. If I press this button, we're going to drop down a couple of inches, and that is to what we call access height. It just makes the car a little lower, a little easier to get in and out of. And then if I press this button twice, we're going to go all the way up to the off-road height, which is about 3.5 inches up from the access height, and that is really only to be used for off-road driving. If you took off in the full height off-road mode, when you got to just over 20 miles an hour, the car would give you a warning and tell you that if you don't slow down, it will lower itself. If you ignore it, it will then just lower itself. And if you take off in the low access height mode, the car will automatically raise itself, and you probably won't even notice it going up. So you really cannot make a mistake with that. That's the key thing. And then we also have the last one, the terrain response. We have sand. This is if you are on a beach and you need to get out of sand. Land Rover actually recommend for that we put the car into sport mode, command shift, and we use the paddle shifters to put us into first gear. And then in first gear, we literally power out of the stand. So I'm just going to put it back into park. And while we're on the shifter, so obviously we now have the rotary gear shifter, which is a really nice feature, very tidy and neat, looks good, and you treat it just like you would a normal shifter. So that's reverse. I've got my foot on the brake obviously, and that brings on your reversing camera. You also have sensors front and back, parking sensors front and back, and then you can carry on moving the dial to drive or neutral or park obviously. If you do want to go into sport mode while you're driving, you do need to press down slightly on the shifter to put it into sport mode, and once you are in sport mode, the paddles come alive. If you fancy some fast road driving and you want to be changing gears like a Formula 1 driver, you can do that. We then have your home link is here for your garage door opener. I cannot do that here unfortunately because I would need your garage door opener to do that, but it's pretty straightforward if you follow the instructions in the book. It does tell you exactly what to do. Up here we have the controls for the sunroof, and I'm just going to move this blind back. You have 3 sunroofs, only the front one opens, but they all have this blind. It is sprung, so make sure you don't just let it go backwards, and just slide it back, and then the sunroof opens in the normal way. Just going back to the steering wheel for a minute, your cruise control is on here, also your telephone controls. If you receive a telephone call while you're driving along, a little box will appear on the screen and it will tell you who's calling you, and you press the green button to answer the phone, the red button if you don't wish to take the call, that'll send it straight to your voicemail. And this button here behind the steering wheel is for your heated steering wheel, which you will really like in the winter, and you just flick it forward to put it on and flick it forward again to put it off, and that will warm this up in about a minute, and it's a very, very nice feature. One of those features that until you've had it you may think it's a little frivolous, but once you've had it you'll never want to not have it. I think that covers most of the controls. There are obviously some things that I haven't touched on, but I didn't want to go through every single button because otherwise this video would be very long. But if there's anything at all that you're not sure about, please call me. The book is very good, but I'm more than happy to go through any of this again. And I say normally when I would do a handover I would go through every button on the car with the customer sitting where I'm sitting now, but obviously I'm unable to do that on this occasion. But if there's anything at all that you're not sure about, please give me a call. And thanks again for your business, we really appreciate it.